What is a rut? A rut is a state of stagnation and emotional monotony. When in a rut, you feel trapped in repetitive, unchanging routines, often operating on autopilot. Days blur together, inspiration vanishes, and motivation is practically non existent. There's no set time frame for ruts. They often last days, weeks, or even months and years, generally as long as the underlying habits or emotional triggers remain unaddressed. For the past few months, which is pretty much all of 2026, I felt completely unmotivated. I've just been like a plastic bag drifting through the wind without direction or much purpose. I've been flip flopping between just doing things as they come and procrastinating on tasks for days, even weeks at a time, and feeling absolutely miserable about it. I've tried to fix it. I've tried loads of times. I followed different YouTube tutorials on how to fix your life in 30 days. I did the all-knowing, all-powerful wheel of life that everyone in the productivity world simply swears by, but nothing seemed to work. So I was left with pretty much only one solution. Oh well, two. The other one being give up, but I couldn't just give up on my own life. So I went to the only other solution I have, which was reflection and prayer. Reflection and prayer in one. At first, of course, I prayed, asking for guidance and help, and then I turned to self reflection. I took a really deep look at what was wrong with my life at the time and saw that when you're in a rut, when you're in this deep feeling of something's not right, it usually means one, two, or more, or even all of these things have a problem. So it's either you are going through it, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. Your physical space is not the best right now, and I mean this in your environment, your like your literal physical space, and then also your own physical self. You have procrastinated a lot of tasks. Your phone is your main source of dopamine, or or your routines and habits are in absolute shambles, or they just don't fit this phase of life you've just entered in. So I looked at it and I realized that not just one, not just two, but all of those were a mess in my life. I knew something needed to change, and it couldn't be the tutorials and videos that I'd been following earlier. This isn't to say that those don't work, but what those did was keep me in this analysis loop. Instead of actually taking action, I was writing page upon page upon page of ranking these different sectors of my life from 1 to 10, and more often than not, they were below 5. And when I did that, all that did was just keep me in this space of, oh no, my life sucks. What do I do? I've got to fix it. But I wasn't actually taking any action. So I decided that I needed to do something different. I needed something that would be really quick. The planning is minimal, and I would be able to take action on it almost immediately, if not immediately. And that's how I came up with this plan. Of course, this may not work for you. It might not work for you the way it worked for me. And I'm not saying this because, oh no, everyone else's routines are trash. Ignore them. Mine is the only one that works. That's not true. Definitely not true. There are a lot of great YouTube videos out there on how to get out of a rut, and I've actually used some of them once or twice. But it's really important to know where you are and to also take a look at your own life and see what it is that is, I'm not going to say wrong, but what it is that could be fixed and how to do so. You can't copy a billionaire's morning routine and expect to have the exact same day as a billionaire if you are working a 9 to 5. Their life is completely different from yours. You also can't use an influencer's life to, you know, sort of figure out how to manage your own. There's always got to be a little bit of self-reflection into it. The only people who can know how to fix your life 100%, or how your life is 100%, are you and the Lord. So Those are the two people you have to ask first before you make any big like life changes and stuff. Okay. So the very first thing I did and you could try is resetting your mind. Now, I did this in a pretty simple way. I just took a nap. That's it. I took a nap. But if you don't feel like napping, you could, just play some lo-fi or jazz music for 5 to 10 minutes and just focus on doing pretty much nothing at all. We don't want to bring in more information into our minds at this point. Your mind's pretty much already full, okay? You have different tutorials from every other video you've been watching on how to fix your life. You have every to-do list that you could do, should be doing, haven't done in there. You have a lot of strangers' offensive opinions in your head from comments and Twitter posts that you've been reading. You don't need more information. You need to relax and let your mind reset. So, 5 to 10 minutes just doing nothing, giving yourself the permission to just be. You don't need to be doing something really, really productive right now. And even if you did, rest is productive, okay? But that's a conversation for another day. You don't need to be doing something uber productive. You don't need to be up and at it and busy and doing everything. Just rest. Give your brain a chance to like process some things. And then once you've done that, you can then start to reset everything else. So mind first, everything else comes afterwards. Now that you've done that resting, you can move on to the next thing, which is doing a blurt. Yes, I will always, always, always talk about blurting when I'm talking about productivity. There is so much in your mind right now. There's so many things you don't even realize it, but there are so many things you've hung up on, ideas you just had, businesses you could start, to do list, things that you haven't done. Oh yeah, I need to do this. I need to remember this. I need to remember that. It's just way too much. So get out a piece of paper and a pen, or get your notes app, get a notebook, whatever it is. We need to take these ideas from here and somewhere tangible where you can see them. Now, I'm going to give a list and examples of different categories that you could use, and you can do it in any way you like. You can do it as a journal. You can do it like journal prompts. You can do it in list form. You can do it in mind maps. Whatever works for you. Just get everything from here into something like this. Okay. So you've written down. You've reset your mind. You've done the blur. We can cross out the mental. We've done the mental. Now we're going to move on to the physical. And the physical starts with you. You are going to do something for yourself, okay? You're going to maybe change your clothes. You're gonna put up your hair. You're gonna wear some earrings. You're gonna put on jewelry, whatever it is. Something quick and fast that you can do to tell yourself that I am just a little bit different from the person that was here in this rut 5 minutes ago. So you're gonna bring yourself out of that by almost like physically changing yourself in one way or another. It doesn't need to be dramatic. You don't need to dye your hair purple or whatever, but you can put on a clean shirt, a pair of trousers, maybe have a shower if you feel you need to, or listen, put your hair up, wear some jewelry, put on some shoes, pretend like you're about to go out, change as if you want to go out. That will help sort of trick your mind into thinking, oh yeah, okay, we're gonna be productive now. Now, leading on from this is the other type of physical, which is your physical space. If your physical space is a mess, you are probably not going to be productive. It doesn't even matter if you're like, oh, I like my place clean. I can do things if my place isn't tidy. I don't have to be tidy all of the time. I'm not saying you need to be like uber clean and everything, but if your place isn't clean, if there are clothes all over the floor, if your table's a mess, your brain is gonna catch on to those things. And every time you pass there, it's gonna be, oh, look, those clothes. Oh, look, that table. It's a mess. These are things that are hindering you from actually thinking through your problems and solving them. So you are going to clean up your physical space. You could do this in two different ways, and many ways, but like two main ones. You could do a selective deep cleaning or everywhere baseline cleaning. Now, the selective deep cleaning is just tackling 1 to 3 places that you spend most of your time. So, of course, your room is number one. You could add in your kitchen and your living room, or your room, your office, your living room, wherever it is that you spend the most time in the day in your house or maybe even in your office space, you're going to clean those places up. So when you go in there, you don't have as much on your mind anymore. Now, the second one is the everywhere baseline cleaning. So you're going to clean your entire space, your entire house, everywhere, but you're not going to do it as deeply as you would have in the other section. You're just going to make sure that everywhere looks tidy, not necessarily super duper clean. For your routines, you're going to figure out your start and stop times. Now, this is really important because you got to look at your routines as bookends to your days. They can be as simple and as extravagant as you want them to be, but you just need to make sure that they serve their purpose, which is to keep your days aligned and straight. So, you figure out what time your morning routine is going to start and stop, and you figure out what time your night routine is going to start and stop. And of course, the starting of the morning routine should be when you wake up, and the end of the night routine is when you're going to bed. This will help give you some sort of structure and would help your days feel a bit more purposeful, which is what we're going for. So once you figure out your start and stop times, you're also going to figure out what you do during these times, like as you are now. What is it that you're doing? What do you like that you're doing? And what don't you like that you're doing? And then you're going to also think of your theme, or rather how you would want to feel at the end of this routine, and the things you're going to do during this routine. Now, I have a more in-depth video on how to make routines in general, an in-depth video on how to make routines. So if you'd like that, it's linked down in the description and you can check it out. Moving on from routines, we have habits. I would encourage that you don't make all of your habits productive habits, Also make your habits things that you enjoy, things that would give you a bit more fulfillment in your day. All work, no play does not make you a fun person to be. Does not make you a fun person to be. So you're gonna add in some fun things for you in addition to the productive things that you're gonna do. Procrastinated tasks can just make you feel so weighed down, and they have this way of keeping you in this loop where you are unmotivated, and then so you don't want to do the tasks, so you just keep them and procrastinate on them, which makes you even more unmotivated, which means you don't want to do the task, and on and on and on and on. So how do we break out of that? Well, the easiest way you can do that is by starting. I'm sorry, there's no other way to do it. You just got to do it. You just got to go for it. But it's pretty hard to do that, especially if you have tasks that seem so hard to do and you feel like it would take hours. So, how can you fix that? Well, you're going to figure out the easiest way to accomplish those tasks, or at least the easiest way to start those tasks. So, you're going to need a timer and just, again, piece of paper, pen, notebook, notes app, whatever. You're going to write down at least three, no, at most three. You're going to write down at most three of those tasks that you've been procrastinating, and then you're going to write in the easiest step you can do for that task in 5 minutes. So let's say you have this essay that you're supposed to write. Okay, so your task for 5 minutes is to work on the introduction. You set that timer, you write as much of the introduction as you can in 5 minutes. And then when the timer is up, you stop and you decide, do I want to continue with this or do I want to move on to the next task? You are not doing anything after that. You are going to either decide whether you continue with that task or do the next one. So let's say your next task is cleaning your room, but you don't want to clean the whole room. So set 5 minutes timer. You start with dress the bed. If you're done with that particular task in less than the 5 minutes, okay, if you've done the task in less than 5 minutes, you say, okay, I'll quickly clean the table. Once the 5 minutes is up, you decide, do I want to continue cleaning the room or do I want to move on to the next task, whatever it may be. So you're going to write the easiest step you can take to complete that task, and then you're going to set a timer. Once the timer is up, you either continue with the task until you finish it, or you move on to the next task. Or you could even continue doing things in 5-minute increments. Whatever it is, just make sure that you're actually doing something and you're not just leaving it and then moving on to go on your phone or watch a YouTube video. Unless it's this one. Okay, next. A lot of the times we find ourselves ignoring the things that we have actually done in favor of things we didn't do. You can ignore all the tasks you accomplished in one day, but just pay attention for that one task that you didn't do. It's pretty much in human nature where we ignore the positive and focus on the negative. And that can really help you feel unmotivated. So even if you do a lot of things in one day, just focusing on that one task that you didn't do can make you feel like you got nothing done. That's why when you're doing your task, you need to write down what you did in that day so you can actually have proof that look, these are all the things I did, not just an empty to-do list of oh I didn't do all of it, or rather an uncrossed off to-do list of oh I didn't do all of these things. And one thing I've noticed when I started doing this was a lot of the things I did weren't necessarily on my to-do list, but they were still important. I sometimes forget to add things on my to-do list or things come up and I really need to do them. So looking at my list of things I did at the end of the day made me realize that wow, I didn't waste my day. I didn't, you know, do absolutely nothing. I actually did stuff. It just didn't appear on my to-do list. But it did appear on my done list or things I did list. You could call it whatever you like. Leading on from this, rewards. Yes, you are going to reward yourself for things you did. If you don't reward yourself for things you did, if you don't make space for acknowledging, like with the previous one, acknowledging the things you did, how are you supposed to feel that joy from actually doing tasks? Now, of course, the reward should come from doing the task itself, but every once in a while, incentive is a good thing. So it doesn't have to be all about money. You can just write down lists of things I like to do or lists of things that give me joy. For me, it's watching a YouTube video from my favorite content creator. It's listening to really nice music. Sometimes it's just doing some crochet. Whatever it is, write down easy things that bring you joy that you can use as rewards for your tasks. And that's it. That's how I got out of my rut, and I hope it's been able to help you figure out how you might be able to make something, make a routine that you can use to get out of yours. I don't believe that this will work for everyone, if I'm honest. I don't believe this is the one all in one cure for getting out of a rut. But I do believe that it is something that can help quite a few, and I do hope that it has been able to help you in one way or the other. So, if you want to see more videos on how to make productivity work for you and how you can make your life easier and better in like simple, easy steps, I hope you stick around and I hope you watch more of my videos. I'll see you around next time. God bless you.